Hello and welcome back to another episode of cedh Builds. We're back after being burned out on the game for a while. I'm still burned out on the game. We're back with Esper DILF. Esper DILF Sugar Daddy Tivit Seller of Secrets. Right? Now, my whole life I wanted an Artifacts Matters Esper deck, you know? I know that there's that fairy trick, but whatever. Not what I was looking for in an Esper Artifacts Matters deck. But we finally got that in the form of a Tivit Seller of Secrets. Flying Ward 3 on a thick, this boy is thick. This is a thick DILF. You know, that's Scuttlebutt with a 6/6 body. Okay, when it does is it ETBs, and it's going to ETB in a 4-man game. You're going to create 5 various treasures, not various, but 5 artifact tokens, 2 treasure and 3 clues, and that's when it ETBs or when it swings. There's a lot we could do with that. There's a lot we can do. So my answers have been prayed. The DILF Sphinx Rogue has come to spank this boy and giving me my Artifacts Matters deck. Well, therein lies the problem, right? It is an Artifacts Matters deck, but it becomes more narrow. So let's go over some of the different ways you could build Tivit. Okay. What's important to know, by the way, is that Tivit wins through a rule of law. We'll get into that as we continue the deck tech, but Tivit can win through a rule of law. As of the filming of this video, rule of law is very much prevalent in the cedh metagame. It could be dying out because more of the top tier decks win through rule of law, and like janky Protein Hulk decks, right? These Abzan variations of Protein Hulk, I think they're trash. But what's important is that they went through rule of law. So maybe because the storming off combo decks that rule of law was meant to stop aren't winning anymore, these majors. Maybe people, there'll be a shift in the meta. Whatever, I'm ranting. But let's talk about some of the cards you could put in a Tivit deck. Since he wins through rule of law, you could put a rule of law, a deafening silence. Since we're in blue, we can even put the blue rule of law. And for the creatures, we could put Eidolon of Rhetoric, Archon of Emeria, and of course, your girl, Aethersworn Canonist. But rule of law is for fucking losers, dude. So I'm not building a rule of law Tivit deck because I want to play cards. I don't want to sit there and have a tea ceremony and socialize with my other dickheads in the pod. Okay, so no rule of law in this deck. Okay, well, Tivit is a rogue, right? And he puts in beats, right? And he wants to do things with artifact tokens, as we'll see it later on. So maybe we make it like a rogues beats deck, and then you look over the rogues that exist in the game, and they're all kind of like weenies. So then you say, oh, dude, maybe like a weenie rogues beats thing that gets value off of weenies or something like that. Okay. What do we got? So we have, Horde Robber. He gets in, he makes a treasure. Same thing with Zentarim Bandit. He gets in and makes treasure. Not a rogue, but we have a Moon Circuit Hacker, which is a weenie. When it gets in, you get to loot. Cool. A new addition, which is a rogue, is a hypnotic grifter, right? Charlie Kirk. Fucking grifters. We have Thieves Guild Enforcer, which for now it's a 1/1. It's a weenie. When it could get bigger, fine. We have some old favorites like a Notion Thief. I personally don't like Notion Thief in a deck without red wheels. I can't depend on my opponent drawing a shit ton of cards for my Notion Thief to get value, because if that doesn't happen, Notion Thief becomes a brick. So not a fan of Notion Thief in a blind metagame. We have another guy pulled out of my Kenrith deck, Ghostly Pilfer. We have other neat creatures like a cedh, River Cutthroat, which by itself, if people are playing the game fast, right, with something as simple as a fetch into a untap shock, boom, a cedh could start drawing cards. It's not as many cards, right? The one card, right, at the end of that turn, if they get lightning bolted, but it can happen. cedh is also nice in Tivit when you start doing a loop, which we'll talk about later, the main win con of the deck, to help filter through the deck, right? And these are all rogues, by the way, well, with the exception of the ninja. We have a Varagoth, which has a ton of synergy with what's his name? Opposition Agent, who's also a rogue, right? So on its own, it's a rogue that can get some value in a rogue, as for rogues beats, and when comboed with a Notion Thief, it's extra juicy value. Now all these rogues matter when you have a card like Prosperous Thief, where whenever a ninja or rogue gets in, you create a treasure token. In Tivit, that's really great, and especially the main win con, which we'll get into just a second. Just bear with me for a second. Prosperous Thief, a little bit overly costed, could put in some work. We have this dude, Tetsuko, perfectly costed, where if a weenie, weenies with either tiny peepees or tiny booties get in uncontested, right? And that's what all these dudes are. They're all tiny peepees and tiny booties. We have a Tymna. This is a paper Tymna. I'm actually running all my Esper decks, so I forgot to swap out the Tymna for this video. I'm not gonna hold on to I don't know how much Tymna is. I remember I had 2 Tymnas, but the price just plateaued on her, and I was like, oh, I gotta get rid of this Tymna. It's free money, and I did, and they got reprinted. But I'm not gonna buy 2 Tymnas. That's stupid. This thing, right? This thing looks like a booger. Grazilax. Same thing with like a Tymna or Prosperous Thief. When something, if it's strong enough, the cedh, it starts getting value off of beats. And of course, Grim Hireling, Mac Daddy, gets the most value out of beats. So that's another option. You could build like a weenie rogues deck. I don't know. This is an option for Tivit, or you have the Rule of Law option. Not a fan of either one, to be honest with you. I want to go fast. I want to get to I want to cut to the point of the deck immediately. And so we'll get into my build of this deck. So, starting from the beginning, Tivit, Cellar of Secrets, very versatile DILF, right? This DILF is verse, but the main win con in this, the win condition of this deck is abusing his ETB. And we can do that through like a hole breaker loop. Not very strong. It's an option, but I'm an adnos, so the 7 is a little scary for me. And not a lot of like rainbow rocks, right? You can't really do anything. You can't bounce your Mox Diamond. You can't bounce your Chrome Mox. And this is not really a dedicated hole breaker deck, so I don't have the Mox Amber in here, or the other teeny tiny rocks that like synergize well with the hole breaker. I could squeeze in some Snowlands, run the Arkham's Astrolabe. I might do that. It's very simple. But yeah, hole breaker is not the main win con. But if you do get this off, you can infinitely, make create your infinite colored mana, and then infinitely just like bounce and cast the Tivit. Right? Reverse DILFs be like. Anyway, once you do that with your infinite clues, you just draw the deck and find an out. Very simple. Also, we can abuse time sieve, right? Sacking 5 of our artifact tokens to take an extra turn, right? Even though you're going to have 3 clues and 2 treasure, you just sack them. The turn comes back to you. He's thick enough where he will get in the next turn. And then you rinse, wash, repeat. Make sure you do your math well and divide him in particular way so that you can draw as many cards as you can before you start taking opponents off the table. Because once you take an opponent off the table, you're not getting 5 treasure, you're getting 4 treasure. Right? So make sure you just do quick maths. Quick maths. We have a Thorkel. It's too simple of a combo. I don't know who leaves a Thorkel out of their blue, black X text. It's just too simple. Of course, with Thorkel, you have a Demonic Consultation and a Tainted Pact. Don't be a scrub and run more than one of the same basic with your Tainted Pact. I see that a lot. I think because babies want to copy the sweats at their, at their locals. But it's very strict rules around the card. You could run more than one basic, more than one 3 basic forests. Go for it, sure. But don't expect consistency with your Thorkel. And then, of course, Tainted Pact is a phenomenal tutor at instant speed. It gets the other half of your combo. And not so much with the consult. You could whiff the first 6 that you exile could be the other half of your combo. So rest in pepperoni. We have Oswald's Fiddlebender. Because we're in Esper, because we want to find our time sieve quickly, we want to find our Academy manufacturer quickly. We'll get into that in a second. We can, now send it away. We have Birthing Pod away, artifact for something a little bit bigger. I don't have too many. Well, see, now I do have to. So I do have to put an Arkham Astrolabe in the deck. So just look into the description for the Moxfield link of this deck's current iteration for any changes I make over the years. But yeah, Oswald turns your 1 into a 2, boom, time sieve. It turns your 2 into a 3, boom, Academy manufacturer. And those are the only 2 important artifacts in this deck that really matter. With that said, we have a Tribute Mage. No Trinket Mage, but we do have Tribute Mage to make sure we could find that Civ as soon as possible. As soon as possible. Academy manufacturer. Now I don't need three other, I don't need three opponents to start going ham. So the Cadman Manufacturer is a very, very strong card in that regard. Don't forget that if you're doing the Rogue's Beats Matters version of this deck, you still have to include your Manufacturer because you have several creatures that make treasure tokens, which is why I considered the Weenie Beats, because of how important Tivit combos with a cedh. We have a Grand Abolisher. Just slap his fat ass on board when it's your extra turns time to go uncontested. Very important. I don't have Ranger Captain of Eos in this deck. Really good card. I only have one target for him in this version of the build, which is the Esper Sentinel. But it's still a good card. You could shut your opponent off when they're clearly trying to combo off. I just don't have the space for it in this deck. I just don't want to run it with the one target. We have Esper Sentinel. Yeah, good card. 1 CMC, easy peasy. We have a Leisure Shredder, new edition, strong as hell. Yeah, not much I can say about it. It's just strong. We have the brand new Archivist of Oh My God. Fine card. Gets a lot of value. Thank God it has flash. I gotta get my premium version soon. I just needed to get the card immediately, so I picked it up during pre-release from somebody. We have, of course, our Hate Bears. We have Opposition Agent, Dothy Voidwalker. Don't forget, this is also a Rogue, Draenith Magistrate, and of course a Gilded Drake to take our opponents off of their annoying combo creatures. Now moving along to our counters package. We have our soft counters. We have a Silence, an Offer You Can't Refuse, Flusterstorm, Dispel, Miscast, Swan Songarino, Mental Misstep, Fierce Guardianship, Pact of Negation, and a Force of Will. We have our removal package, very simple removal package. If I were to make the Weenies Rogue deck, I would add a couple of more key pieces of spot removal, just so my guys could go in. We have a Swords to Plowshare, Toxic Deluge, Heliod's Intervention, Chain of Vapor, Winds of Rebuke, and a Cyclonic Rift. Very strong mono blue spot removal. Trash if you're playing like a long game, but very, very good if you're just about to combo off, but you need to get rid of the single piece of stacks. Speaking of stacks, so of course we understand why Tivit wins through a rule of law, right? Because if the Tivit is on board with a rule of law, then now it's just a straight beats. I'm not even casting spells. Tivit will get my artifact tokens. The cedh will eat them up, gobble, 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 yas, queen, and he just goes in again and again and again. Very simple. So the Tivit wins through a rule of law. Our draw package, we have a Brainstorm, Gitaxian Probe, Ponder, and a Preordain. No, Ponder, Preordain. We have Peer into the Abyss, Ad Nauseum, Windfall, and of course, Time Twisterino. Our rituals, we have the Dark Ritual, Cabal Ritual, Calling the Weak, and a Reign of Filth. Our Tutors package, really just concerned with the artifacts tutors in this deck. We have an Imperial Seal, we have Demonic Tutor, We have the full suite of Mystical Tutor, Vampiric Tutor, and an Enlightened Tutor. Matching, 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 matching. We have a Fabricate, War of Invention. Gotta get that cedh quickly, quickly, quickly. Reshape and Transmute Artifact. We have the Praetor's Grasp, very important card. You can either get the other half of your combo through your opponent, right, like a Thoracle, right? Your opponent's a Thoracle. And by doing that, you also take your opponent off their Thoracle. So with that said, you could take your opponent's bullshit, fragile glass cannon deck and just simply neuter the shit out of it by taking away their key combo piece. And then for a little bit of recursion, we have Yawgmoth's Will. I couldn't think of any busted intuition piles in this deck, so there's no intuition. And then the best of the rest, we have Mystic Remora. Keep an eye out. Soon this is announced as a foil, right? Secret Lair foil. That's cool. Ristic Study, Necropotence. On artifacts, we have Lotus Petal, Jeweled Lotus. The game is going by so fast, I never had the chance to foil this out. Talisman of Progress, Talisman of Dominance, Fell War Stone. I'm still going to be super crushed when this is a Secret Lair. Arcane Signet, Chrome Mox, Mox Opal, Mox Diamond. We have a Grim Monolith. I'm on the fence now about foiling this out. I still have my fund that I mentioned at the beginning of this year to get a foiled Grim Monolith. But the thing is, I play with the Monolith less and less and less as the years go by. Not as important of a combo piece anymore. But since we are doing Hullbreaker things, this is nice in a Hullbreaker deck. Mana Vault, Soul Ring, and a Mana Crypt. And then wrapping things up with our lands package. This is going to be changed because I have to make space. I have to add 2 or 3 snow basics to squeeze in an Astrolabe somewhere in the deck, just so it's a nice 1 CMC rock that could filter for colors when I'm doing Hullbreaker loops, and 2, it's a 1 CMC artifact that I could pitch, or like a breeding pool for a time sieve with a Fiddlebender. We have all 9 fetches. We have just 1 island and 1 swamp. We have all 3 Chakarinos and all 3 Dolenzios. We have a Morphic Pool and a Sea of Clouds. But the changes I might make to accommodate an Arcane Astrolabe is take the 2 basics out in exchange for snow basics, take this out for an exchange for a snow plains, and then either keeping the Morphic Pool in the deck or swapping it out for maybe a Atawada. I don't have an Atawada in this deck. I own an Atawada. I just couldn't find the space for it. Right. I couldn't find the space for it because this is an Artifacts Matters deck, and so what happens with that is you have to make space for the next couple of lands, because if I lose my cedh in the graveyard, I gotta get it back. It's everything. So we have a Buried Ruin, an Academy Ruins, Adventures Fair to help tutor it up. There's no Urza Saga, there aren't any like 0 or 1 CMC rocks or artifacts that I desperately need. So there's no Urza Saga. But we do have a Seed of the Synod to help to pay for Transmute Artifact and Reshape. And then we have the best of the rest. We have Ancient Tomb and our colored rocks, like a gemstone. Cavern, hello. Why are you so dull? Oh my god. Oh my god, this is so dull. Command Tower. Mana Confluence. And of course, our city of Brasserino. Yes, sir. And there you have it. You have thick daddy, sugar daddy, versatile DILF, Tivit, seller of secrets in 2022. Many, many different ways to build it. And like I said, it's very, very important, the fact that he wins through a rule of law. That's everything. That is everything. Because if you have 3 dickhead opponents, right, because rule of law is for losers, if you have 3 dickhead opponents that are all on rule of law, like that's just like the hurdles. So many hurdles, and my knees hurt, you know. But Tivit wins through that. He doesn't give a shit. And so that's what makes Tivit, for now, just so strong. So strong. Yeah, there you have it. Ta-ta. Bye-bye.